everybody, it's Chris Eads, Line is Wootini here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. This week, I went to the movies and saw Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. It's actually just called Ready or Not, Here I Come in the opening titles of the film. There's no 2. But I wanted to see this, but I wanted to see Project Hail Mary in IMAX first. So this week, I caught up with Ready or Not. And I was very pleasantly surprised. I was hoping it would be okay because they waited 5 years to make the sequel, so that's a good sign. It's not a quick cash-in. But while it's not as good as the original was just such a terrific premise. It was a great one-off. And so this one, they have to expand upon that. And they do that with varying degrees of success. So it's not quite as good as the first, but it's still pretty good. It doesn't suck, which was what I was afraid it was gonna. So basically, the next day, she's hunted by a bunch more rich people who worship Satan, and thankfully it's not just a chase. There's other things going on, and they expand upon the lore, and it's relatively successful, I think. Less successful is the introduction of her sister, played by Katherine Newton. Basically, that sibling relationship only works because of the chemistry between Katherine Newton and Samara Weaving. They are the ones that sell this because they have the sisters have this like bitter history, and she doesn't like her older sister because, for reasons I won't get into it. But, they have conflict, but they have to work together to survive because they're being hunted by these rich Satanists. And that relationship only works because of the actresses, in despite the script. It's in spite of the dialogue that they are given, because there's, one scene in particular where, everything just stops and they just argue and give all this exposition about what happened, and it's just like, oh my god, I don't care. Let's get back to it. And I just wanted somebody to come in and interrupt and try to kill them again, because I was like, let's get back to it. But the action is terrific. Once again, there is a lot of ridiculous slapstick violence, and it goes even further in this one because they have more budget and they can do all kinds of crazy things. And it's very entertaining. There's a pepper spray fight that is absolutely hilarious. That was a highlight. And I will say that the ending, it's not all just one big long chase. There's complications and different things that happen, and there's, story developments and stuff, and I actually appreciated the ending for the twists and turns that arrived at the ending. It was wild and crazy, and I was also very pleased that it doesn't leave an obvious setup for a third one. The first one didn't really leave an obvious setup, but they made a second. But hopefully they'd wait another 5 or 6 years till they had an actually good idea to make a third. But it doesn't it's not like a quick cash in that sets up a series, because they could have changed, if they'd tweaked the ending a little, it would totally set up a third one that you'd get next year, and it'd be diminishing returns. So I appreciate that they're not trying to franchise this. So if you like the first one, you'll like this one. It's more of the same, but crazier and not quite as good, but still very entertaining. Maybe you don't need to spend $20 in a theater for it. You could wait for it to come onto Hulu, but whatever, it's your call. As for games, I have not been playing much Disney Dreamlight Valley at all. I did do what I thought was Lady's final friendship quest, but it turned out it was not. So there's still, I guess, one more that I should probably get to. Hopefully I'll do it this week, because I think next week is when the new update drops. But I did finish. They did also release the final week of routine duties, which were super easy. Did them in 5 seconds, and I got the final reward, which is a new house that can make it look like the restaurant from Lady and the Tramp. Which I'm like, I don't want my house to look like a restaurant, thank you. But whatever. I wanted to have it, because you always want your rewards, I also didn't spend a lot of time with Infinity Nikki because the update didn't drop until Wednesday. But of course I can't play it on Wednesday because the servers are still updating and whatever. So I only got a couple of days of the new update. And basically, it's some weird, like, Red Riding Hood kind of thing. I don't really know what it's about yet, because I haven't quite started it. She is called Mad Red Riding Hood, which is interesting, because this game can get weirdly dark sometimes, so I'm not surprised. But I haven't really dived into the new update yet, because this update also introduced a new gameplay element where Momo can get these new cloaks that give him combat ability. So now, instead of Momo saying, I'll hide while you fight the S-Lings, he can join in and help out, which is nice. It's fun. So, I did that first. The first couple of days, I was basically doing that. So I've only just now started the actual story for this new update quest. So I'll have more to talk about that next week. And because I wasn't playing a lot of that, I was able to really focus on Ghost of Yotei this week, again. Now it's going to be hard because I am going to have to play more Nikki and then more Disney, so I'll get less Yotei in, but we'll make it work somehow. I have continued this Kitsune quest. I still have not defeated the Kitsune. I almost did, but then it turned out there was a twist. I mentioned that last episode. But I was determined to get this listen ability, and I finally reached the point. It was deep into the Kitsune quest line. There were like multiple missions, and after one of them, I finally learned how to listen. And I was like, yay, finally. So that came along. I also learned smoke bombs, which is cool. But I do find it difficult in the heat of combat to switch between the throwables, so I tend to stay on the kunai because that's the easiest one. I like that one, to throw that one. But it is funny because it's like I finally learned this ability, and then I was doing some random stuff and I freed this because I was doing all this other random stuff. Like I learned the Kusarigama, which is that weapon with the sickle and the chain, which I was all excited when I was learning it. And the guy's like, if you do a heavy attack, you'll swing the big metal ball and you can smash the shields of your enemies. And I said, thank you, because those shields are a pain in the ass to break, so you can actually kill the guy. It turns out, I think it might be like slightly easier than using your katana, but it still takes a few hits before the shield breaks. It's annoying. I wanted it to break on the first hit, but whatever. And then I also ended up in that area following this multi-step side quest, and I got the Crimson Kimono, which looked great until I upgraded it fully, and now it just looks like armor. But whatever. I still wish I could customize my look, but yeah, whatever. But it's a good stealth kimono. It's a good stealth armor that I like better than the Ninetales stealth armor. So I'm basically switching between the Crimson Kimono loadout and my Armor of the Undying loadout, because those are the two that I like, depending on if I'm going stealthy or if I'm going into combat. Those are my armors, pretty much. Although there was one point where I was doing a shrine quest and it was bitter cold and my health kept dipping because of the cold, so I put back on that original armor that gives you extra defense against the heat and the cold, so that was helpful for that. But I was doing all this stuff, and then it finally was like, I freed this like weaponsmith who can help improve my Kusarigama, and he was like, hey, if you're ever at the Red Crane Inn, look me up. And I was like, okay, well, I have to go back there anyway, because that's the next stage. I have to go there just to do the next mission in the Kitsune quest. So I headed back there, and as I was approaching, I did some shopping, and then I was heading towards the inn, and Atsu's like, it's time to finish this. And I paused, because I was like, wait. If you're a regular viewer, you know that when I play these open world games, I like to finish all the side stuff before I finish the story, because once I finish the story, I'm not inclined to do any more side stuff because I'm done with it. I'm done. I've done the story, it's ended, I'm done. Here, I'm still in the beginning of this game. I mean, I'm 40 hours in, and I still have only defeated one of the Yotei. and that's in the prologue. So I spent 40 hours and I still haven't killed anyone else. So I've got to get on this mission. But what I decided was, rather than kill him and then do the mop up around, I was like, let me go and mop up, because there's all the farms that you have to free. You have to protect all the farms from the Ninetales. And then there's the Ninetales hideouts, which I had already done a couple just because I randomly discovered them, because I'm like, oh, what's this lighthouse? Oh, it's a hideout. Well, I guess I'll kill them while I'm here. So I basically have spent this week wiping out all the red areas on the map to defeat the Ninetales and release this area from their control, figuring once I do all of this, then I can defeat the Kitsune, and then this area will be done, you know? It would be nice if defeating all of that made it easier to defeat the Kitsune in the end, but I don't think that the game is set up like that. Sometimes games are set up like that, but I don't think this one is. But I figured that would be better than defeating him and then having to go and mop up the leftovers afterwards, because then it would feel very anticlimactic. And I just did this one, like the winter hideout, whatever it's called. That one was really tough, and it ended with this big boss battle, and I defeated him. It took me a couple of tries, but I defeated him, and now I'm like, okay, I have one more place that's not technically a hideout. It's like a trading post or something, but it's controlled by the Ninetales, so I have to go in there and kill all the enemies. Then I will go after the Kitsune. So when I come back, when you tune in for the next episode, I should have finally defeated the Kitsune and wrapped up that section of the map, and I will have killed another of the Yotei 6, and then I can go back to the Oni. So come back and find out if that's what actually happens. You never know. Probably, but you never know. Bye!